Welcome to the CA Ops MVS Event Management and Operations Mainframe Team Center Automation Federated Security video. This video is broken up into the following sections. This section gives an overview of the Federated Security feature for MTC-A. What business needs does this new Federated Security feature for MTC-A address? Ops MVS users may have a complex ZOS security environment with different levels of access on different systems. For instance, a user may have update access to a System State Manager table called Production on System 1, but no access at all to the table of the same name on System 2. Prior to these changes, MTC-A only supports checking authorization on one security domain. This limitation prevents a single instance of MTC-A from fully reflecting a user's level of access across systems in different security domains. So how are these business needs addressed by this new feature? Security administrators can now accurately restrict or grant access to AOF rules and SSM resources in MTC-A across multiple security domains and Ops MVS instances. Let's go over a few terms that will be used throughout this presentation. Authentication is a security check which verifies the user's credentials such as username and password. Successful authentication is required to log in to MTC-A. Authorization is a security check for whether a user has the right level of access for an operation. For example, an authorization check would be performed to see if a user has at least read access to a resource table in System State Manager. At least read access to SAF resource prefix.opsview is required to log in to MTC-A. ZOS systems are divided into security domains composed of one or more systems. Each security domain has its own ESM microservice server responsible for handling authorization requests for all systems in that security domain. An example set of security domains will be used to explain the Federated Security feature. The following are software prerequisites for using the Federated Security feature of MTC-A. This section describes the example OPSplex environment used in this video. This video will use an example set of two security domains, and two user IDs, user 01 and user 02, will be used. Screenshots of MTC-A will be used to demonstrate their differing levels of security access. Here is a set of two example security domains comprised of a total of 4 ZOS LPARs. Security domain A is secured with CA Top Secret, and security domain B is secured with CA ACF2. The Ops instances on both System 1 and System 2 are configured to use the same external security prefix OPMVS and are within the same security domain. This means that when MTC-A performs authorization checks, users will have the same level of access to rules and SSM resources on System 1 and System 2 because the same SAF resources will be checked for both systems. The primary ESM microservice server resides on System 1 and security domain A. The alternate ESM microservice server, which is used if the primary server is unavailable, resides on System 2. The primary and alternate ESM servers must both be topology servers. What we mean by topology servers is that these instances of the ESM microservice have been configured to include a mapping of ZOS LPARs to other instances of the ESM microservice. This allows MTC-A to check authorization on other systems without requiring you to duplicate the list of ESM microservice instances in your MTC-A configuration. This video won't cover the configuration for the ESM microservice instances, but check the links in the video description for more information. Any other instances of the ESM microservice, such as the one on System 3 in this example, do not have to be configured as topology servers. Note that the OPS MVS instance on System 4 has configured a different SAF resource prefix, OPSPRD. This means that even though System 3 and System 4 are in the same security domain, one user in security domain B can have different levels of access to OPS MVS on System 3 and System 4. And after the introduction of the Federated security feature, MTC-A will respect those levels of access. This section discusses the operation of the Federated security feature. The Federated security feature requires updates to the configuration of the ESM microservice. Consult the documentation for the ESM microservice for more information. The authorization used for a user's initial login to MTC-A has not changed. MTC-A will contact the primary ESM microservice server using the SAF resource prefix and SAF resource class fields from your conf.yaml configuration file to check for at least read access to SAF resource prefix.opsView. However, the ability to view rules and resources will be based on separate authorization checks. So it's possible that a user with access to the SAF resource prefix.opsView resource but no other access can log into MTC-A but be unable to view any data. Using the username and password entered by the user, MTC-A will attempt to authenticate using the primary ESM microservice. This means that the username and password must be valid on the system that the primary ESM microservice is running on. If the primary ESM microservice instance is unavailable, MTC-A will attempt to use the alternate ESM microservice server. For each OPS MVS instance, MTC-A will retrieve the values of the external security prefix and external security class parameters and use them to make all authorization requests for AOF rules and SSM resources. External security prefix is the SAF resource prefix used by external security in OPS MVS, but MTC-A does not require that external security be fully configured to use the Federated security feature. Only the external security prefix and external security class parameters are required for the purpose of using MTC-A. If a system connected to MTC-A is not in a security domain, or its security domain is not defined in the ESM microservices topology configuration, MTC-A will not display that system's information to any user. For AOF rules, MTC-A will check for at least read access to external security prefix.opsAOF on each security domain. For SSM resources, MTC-A will check for at least read access to external security prefix.sql.tablename on each security domain. This allows administrators to restrict or grant access to SSM resources on a per-table basis, with each security domain having its own level of access for each user. Here is our first example user, user01. In security domain A, they have a high level of access, being able to see all rules defined on System 1 and System 2. Since user01 has read access to the SAF resources op$mvs.sql.stctbl and op$mvs.sql.payroll, they will be able to see all SSM resources on System 1 or System 2 in tables named SDCTBL or payroll, but not resources defined in other tables. Since System 1 and System 2 are in the same security domain, and the OPS instances on both systems are configured to use the same SAF resource prefix op$MVS, there is no difference in access for any users between System 1 and System 2. On System 3, they have access to rules, but no access to SSM resources. On System 4's instance of Ops MVS, the external security prefix is set to OPSPRD. User 01 has no access to any SAF resources starting with OPSPRD in Security Domain B, so they will be unable to view any rules or SSM resources from System 4 and MTC-A. When User 01 is logged into MTC-A, we can see that they can view rules on System 1, System 2, and System 3. However, System 4 is missing from the list because they do not have access to rules on that system. User 01's System State Manager view in MTC-A is missing System 3 and System 4, where they had no access to SSM resources. Here's one more user with different levels of access called User 02. User 02 has access to AOF rules on System 1 and System 2, but no access to SSM resources on those systems. On System 3, which resides in Security Domain B, they have no access to any SAF resources starting with the prefix $MVS. Therefore, no data from System 3 will be visible in MTC-A for User 02. On System 4, User 02 has read access to OPSPRD.OPSAOF, which allows them to view rules in MTC-A. User 02 also has read access to any SAF resource starting with OPSPRD.SQL, so they will be able to view all SSM resources from System 4 and MTC-A. Once User 02 is logged into MTC-A, the Rule Manager page looks like this. They can view rules from System 1, System 2, and System 4. However, since they had no access on System 3, that system is missing from the list. Here is User 02's System State Manager view in MTC-A. The only system where User 02 had access to SSM resources was System 4, so that is the only system that appears in the list on the left. In this video, we covered the Federated security feature for Mainframe Team Center automation. For more detailed information about this product, go to the product page.